Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. We got lots of stuff. I got a new book we're going to be going through. It's going to be a few-part episode with my co-host, David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Robert, as always, and greetings to all of you. We were only a few minutes late, fashionably late, as they say. And as always, we welcome you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And we always pray that you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And with that, we got a good story for tonight. I done forgot what it was. Something about the lovers.
Yeah, Spirit and the Lovers, I think it is.
Oh, the spirits and the lovers. Yeah. And so we'll have that in about an hour-ish.
Yep, absolutely.
And of course, I'll pull some cards later on, ladies and gentlemen. So get your animal cards in your head. They're floating around out there.
Oh, yeah. There we go. People are pouring in. They're waiting for us. There's Lucky Stone. Happy Tribal Thursday now. And we got Beyond Truth, Nina the Mystic over there. She's got that new channel we're both on. Beyond Truth, if you haven't subscribed, go over there and subscribe. Remember, she's got a drawing, so you can enter. It's free to enter. There you go. So do that. And there's Chris Smith. He says, hello, everyone. Thank you for
Chris.
coming. And then there is Elderberry. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Let's see who else we got in here. But anyway, we got Chloe. Yay! She says, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
See you. Let's see. Crystal Shaman's in the house. Good to see you too. Let's see. It means always. You'll never late. YouTube means you're always arrive on time. That's right. Let's see. Oh, and Nina has a new X account, the old Twitter, and a Facebook page, and links are in the description below. So check them out. Nice, right? So go check that out. See what she's got to say on there. Chloe says, "I love you, Hawkeye." So
love you too, good. Sweetheart. Be good.
Okay. Yeah.
Coming to Georgia.
I know she had a great show about crystals the other day, and I didn't quite make it to the whole thing because I cut out a little bit later. But she got some crystals, and I seen one on there, and I got to get back to her, and so I can send her some money, and she send me a crystal, so I can have a crystal sitting on my desk here somewhere, which I think would be really kind of cool. Duh. With that, thanks, Chloe. I forget what it was that crystal you had. Rabbit something. Started with an R. Anyway, it's all good. It's all good. I just got to get caught up. I've been working all week, so let's see. And Nina says the giveaway is almost done. Enter to win a T-shirt plus white light spray. Yeah, see, you got a crystal. Laborite. That's what she said. Laborite. Oh, I like it. I like it. Where'd you get that one?
I'm not sure.
One
of my excursions somewhere to the mountains.
Ooh, nice. I like it.
It really is. It's a nice big one.
Did you find that or pick it up at a crystal?
No, I purchased it.
It
was probably about $20.
Wow. Nice. Okay, well, tonight we're going to be talking about this book right here. A Journal of a Mountaineer. It took me a ton of time to read this book, and finally said, I'm going to pull the plug on this and we're going to do it. But this is a Journal of a Mountaineer by W.T. Hamilton. And he was the mountaineer we're going to be talking about tonight. He was young and fun and out on the way. So he met some interesting characters along the way. and we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Gros Ventres and the Bloods and the Blackfeet and all that good stuff. So anyway, so where does this all take place? It takes place on Milk River, the Milk River area up in northern plains near Fort Benton. So basically northern Montana, close to the Canadian border, which isn't really too far from me. Hamilton, the narrator, is living with a group of hunters who are trying to survive, trade, and protect themselves in a region where danger can show up at any time. The first big idea is that the hunters are dealing with constant tension between different groups. Remember, this is earlier in the century when there's all these mountain men and trappers out there, and they're trying to get the best deals they can, trying to get all these animals trapped because there's big money in it. It's like you might as well be panning for gold. So anyway, they're dealing with all this tension between the different native tribes. I want to talk a little bit about the native tribes, and David, you can chime in anytime you want. But we think that the native tribes were all peaceful amongst themselves, but they really weren't. They were very warlike all the time to all the other Indians. Indians hated Indians. It was terrible. We think, the white man. Actually, there was probably more Indians killing Indians before the white man came. But when the white man came, the Indians killing Indians kind of went down. It's crazy how that happened, because that's what they did. They just warred all the time. They hunted. Remember, there was seasons. There was the hunting season in the spring, warring season in the summer, hunting season in the fall, and then there was winter, where you kind of tell stories and sit back and carry your bows and arrows. Is that correct?
Yeah. And sometimes the reasons that they warred each other would go back, 2 or 3 generations. Your uncle did something to my uncle, and therefore we're mad at you. And so, and then they just stayed mad at each other, So, but a lot of other times, they thought that it was about resources. You come into my area, that means and kill a deer, that means we don't have that deer to eat ourselves. So there was that too.
Yeah, buffalo, deer, plants, wild native plants. A lot of it was a food resource, because they weren't drilling for oil. There was plenty of water to go around, but it was resources, and most of it was food. Pelts, things like that. And people were a resource too. Children, natives. When warring tribes went to war with each other, a lot of times they didn't care if you were a woman or a man. They killed you off. Sometimes they would. If you were a child, you might get lucky and get adopted into the tribe. And that would be your big break.
which meant they kidnapped you and tied you up until you decided to be good. Yeah. You remember that one gentleman who was I can't remember. He was a white boy.
Yeah.
And got saved or whatever, and
Herman Lehman.
Huh?
Herman Lehman. We talked about him. 9 years with the Indians.
Yeah, there you go. So, but when you're all alone and up northward, there's a lot of snow most of the time. You need a group. You could run off by yourself in the deep snow, but if there's nobody out there, your chances of surviving are bad. So you might as well be, a slave to the group that just kidnapped you, and because they might at least feed you.
Yeah, well, even one of the most famous native women that is out there is Sacagawea, with the Lewis and Clark. She was kidnapped or sold or something from her tribe, ended up over by the Mandan Indians, where her and her man, who either traded or bought her, and married her off. I think he had two wives, and she was only 16, and she went with Lewis and Clark and them, and they went, and they came across her family out there, and that just tells you that she had been probably scooped up as a child, either that or sold or traded.
She was probably kidnapped, I mean, by what you meant by scooped up,
Yeah.
and, her family, meaning her tribe. So, yeah. And the fact that, she left the Midwest and headed towards the mountains and ooh, look, there's my family. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Coincidence.
And lucky for her, or for Lewis and Clark, when they did run into her family, instead of killing Lewis and Clark, they welcomed them in and gave them horses and food and shelter and all that good stuff,
Yep.
because they brought her back to visit, which is, they were lucky. Chloe says that she says that sometimes beheading and scalping, yes, there was a lot of scalping. I was doing some research on this just today, I guess it was. I was looking it up, and they were talking about scalping. Was scalping here before the white man? Yes. Yes is the answer. It was. They scalped each other before the white man. So it wasn't just because the white man showed up. The white man capitalized on the scalping and paid a bounty for the scalps. Before that, it was more of a prestige thing. Like, yeah, I killed my enemy, and this is what I have to show for it. So there you go.
Yeah, then it was a lot of times more like the chief or a brave, whereas when the white people did it, they'd scalp everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there was a bounty on the scalps. So it's like, oh, look, there's 10 Indians. Ooh, look, that's $500,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So the scalping thing was capitalized by the bounty with the white man, but there was scalping going on before that. It wasn't nothing new. So they did that scalping thing. During the fight, the women would get in there, the men would do a lot of the killing, and then the women would go there and cut the entrails out of people and stab them and cut their fingers off and other appendages I ain't even going to mention. And they would sometimes skin them, and they were even known for, some of them, cannibalism. They would eat some of their enemies to gain their power or their strength or whatever. And it was known. I read about one place where the one chief said he ate 100 people. So,
yeah, but did he eat the whole people?
No, he probably just ate parts.
Well, but and a lot of times it was the heart or the liver or an internal organ that they said that carried the essence of the person, and so they would eat their enemy, and so I don't know if it was started out as, we're hungry, I'm going to eat that guy over there in the third row, or whether or not, it was the eating of the essence of the person that led to the cannibalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like they were saying,
if you were up north there and around Canada and all, that's that particular area over there is where I believe it's Glacier National Park, where a lot of glaciers were there, a lot of ice back in the day. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of ice. There were glaciers that came all the way down into Montana. So what we see today is not what they were doing riding around on horses. So the landscape has changed drastically. The ice has moved back up into Canada, and and the landscape has changed. So, but what I mean by that too, with all the ice and everything, it was a lot colder, and the where the animals grazed and so forth changed, and so it, you know, if you lived up in Canada more, it was a lot colder, and the animals were less frequent than further south, and so thus, if you got really hungry, you might end up eating somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so true. But the thing was is that they didn't just kill everybody either. They did horrible other things like chop their noses or their ears off. They would, you know, chop a hand off, or, you know, all kinds of what we take today. It's just really cruel things. We would look at it totally different. Very cruel. They said that almost back in those days, almost every single native would have had killed at least one, or native warrior, I should say, warrior would have killed one person, you know, by the time they got older, you know, which is kind of weird to say, well, how many people you killed this, you know, in 20 years, you know, keep an account, I guess. But that's what these people did. So I guess, you know, that it's a way to keep your population down, and you know, the strong stay strong and the weak get killed off.
You
You know
know,
what
with all the stories that we've read in these last 2 or 3 years, think of all of the natives who were killed by each other,
Yep.
and you know, and circumstances, and what if they had banded together and not killed each other? How many more of them would there have been?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Their population would have been at least tripled,
yes.
because if they'd quit killing each other and worked together, and there'd been less starvation, and you know, that more cooperation. So the native peoples could have really populated the America.
Yes, and they didn't think about this until the very end.
Too late.
You know, yeah, which was right at the end when you had Custer's last stand, is when they finally, you know, Red Cloud and Sitting Bull and all of them had finally gotten together and said, hey, listen, you know, we need to get all the tribes that are left together to work together to defeat our enemy. And they had 6,000 Indians living in a tribe there for a little bit. And then when Custard came over the hill and said, holy cow, there's a lot of them, they never had that unity before. Usually it was, you know, a couple hundred. And he had a couple hundred troops with him. He was going to wipe them out, right?
So he thought.
Well, yeah. And so once they banded together like that, they were pretty unstoppable force. They knew that the white man had superior weapons, they, you know, on all these other things, and they were finally getting to that point where they kind of had some of those weapons too, and they knew the tactics and everything. But the one thing they didn't have is they didn't have a fort or a country or enough population, because all that happened after that was the government sends out more troops and more troops and more troops, and round them up, boys, you know, kind of thing. And yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But this story we're talking about is just like what we're talking about here, is the natives. I don't want to give away the scoop, but in the end, it's the natives fighting against the natives. And we're going to go back in time here to some of the first white men trappers to come along. And like I said, I've read this story, and they're like, ooh, white men trappers. They either embraced you, or the one tribe wants to embrace you and the other tribe wants to kill you. So that's kind of what it boils down to. So let's get back to what we're going to be talking about tonight. The first tribe, these hunters that are going out to trap and stuff, the mountain men, they meet up with the Gros Ventres and the chief named Pharmacy. Yeah, pharmacy, and explains that that hostile raiders had recently tried to steal horses, and this was the Blackfeet, and Bloods are part of the Blackfeet, so we're going to call that. His men chased them into the Bear Paw Mountains. So if you don't know where that is, look it up. I got a map here somewhere. Just give me a second, and I'll figure it out. But there's a lot of chasing around here. But they didn't catch anyone. Because the natives are kind of funny. They chase after other natives, but they really didn't come up with a whole lot. Okay, so I have a map, so we're going to put that up so we can see where these people are going and what I'm talking about to set the mood for our. Oops. Yeah, that wasn't good. I'm having computer problems all day. Well, I guess that ain't working. There we go.
A map flip by.
Yeah, I know. I was like, where's my map and my notes? And there it went. Just like that. Huh. Okay. I don't know what happened to my map. I had a nice map.
Also, I think it was the Blackfeet that were the ones that were renowned or known for eating their horses and eating people. And I think it was the Blackfeet, because further west is the Blackfoot. Two separate tribes. Two separate nations, I should say. It wasn't just a tribe, it was a nation. It was all of the tribes as a nation were the Blackfeet or the Blackfoot. A lot of times that people don't understand that. There were the tribes, and then there was the nation of Cherokee or the nation of the Sioux. It wasn't the tribe of the Sioux. There were tribes within the nation of the Sioux.
Yeah, that's right. So you're exactly right. So there was the thing that it was a Blackfeet, the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Ninetipsi. Okay, so the Blackfoot Confederacy, often called Ninetipsi, means the real people. You'll see, or Blackfeet or Blackfoot, or same thing. And they're talking about a confederacy that includes groups like the Shinishka, the Kalmaya, or the Blood, or the Peneki, the Penigan, these nations. Okay, so in this book, we're going to be talking about these tribes. The Bloods, and we got against the Gros Ventres, and the Gros Ventres are the Belknap Indian community in Montana. So like I said, there's different tribes, and some are, like you said, they're banded together. Even though there's Bloods and there's Blackfoot, together they make the Blackfoot Confederacy. Right.
And the Blackfoot was over towards Montana, and the Blackfeet were more like a Minnesota kind of thing. So
no. The Blackfeet Nation is the Blackfeet or Blackfoot is the same tribe. They just say Blackfeet. It's a thing.
I know, but when you get down to, you ask either one of them, and they'll go, "Oh no, them Blackfoot, they're not a part of us." So they are separate nations. They included there because they considered them the same, but they are not the same. That's why I'm here to separate that. They call them the same in the book, but they're not.
Well, and we will definitely look into that and find out for sure. But I'll agree with you. I'll agree. Okay, so here we got our map, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. And you can see here's the border, the big line that runs through the middle. And this is the Canadian border, Montana, the Milk River Basin. This is where we're talking about, basically where like you were saying, is Glacier National Park.
Yep.
Saskatchewan, Alberta, right on the border of these. So if you know where this is, just kind of right up there, it's right there. Glasgow, Harv. I think I've been to Glasgow before. So I went to Glacier a few times. So
Yeah.
it's not that far, and you got to drive through this area, and it's like a big Indian reservation now. So the
Yeah.
Milk River Basin. And yes, once you get over to this area, there is lots of mountains. And when you get mountains and trees,
It's beautiful.
yes, it's beautiful, but that's where all the animals live. Just lots and lots of animals live up there. And so this is why the trapper,
because further south, there are less trees and more rolling plains. It's more grassland.
Oh yeah, and it's like a line. I swear, once you're going and you're kind of following the Missouri River there, and the mussel shell over there, and it's like nothing but flat, dry, deserted prairie land. I mean, there's nothing out there for miles, not a tree in sight. And then all of a sudden, it starts rolling hills, and then it turns into trees and mountains, and everything is good. And it's like, wow, I made it through the plains. Oh, like if I was a pioneer, I'd be thinking, oh my goodness, thank goodness I've made it. I made it. But yeah. So anyway, what are we dealing with here? Okay, we're going with we meet up with the Gros Ventres and their cheap pharmacy. He talks about hostile raiders, and the hostile raiders are stealing horses. His men chase him into the Bear Paw Mountains, and if we can look here,
wait,
it says
I'm sorry. Who's stealing horses from whom?
Now the Bloods, or you could say the Blackfoot Indians, the Blackfeet, they're known for being horse stealer people, not fighters as much as horse stealing. They are known for their horse stealing.
Okay. So they were stealing horses from the other folks.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry, but now I can keep up.
Okay. I'm glad, because everybody else is out there probably saying the same thing. Okay. But they didn't catch him. Even though the attack didn't end up in a capture, the chief believes he knows who the raiders were and warns that more trouble could come. Pharmacy also explains why he plans to move his village. The buffalo herds are higher up the river, and being closer to the buffalo means food and strength. And moving also helps protect the village from enemies. Of course, it makes it the hunters and the Gros Ventres are basically forced into uneasy alliance. You want to be in alliance with a tribe, but it could be devastating too, all at the same time. Do I trust these natives or do I trust the other natives, kind of thing? You know what I mean? Which side do I pick? And you better pick one side or the other, because if you don't pick the right side, both sides will try to kill you. You get it? So, and they don't know what to do with the white man. They don't know, should we trust the white man or shouldn't we? And nobody can afford to be careless. In this story, we shift from daily camp life, and the first wounded start. We got wounded people. The Gros Ventres riders arrive excited and celebrating, and they want to see war trophies, and they break into loud celebrations. So we're going to talk about that stuff. And then, the hunters that are out hunting return to the main work of collecting wolf pelts. They were collecting wolf pelts, which paid really good at the time. And then they sell their trade to Fort Benton. And I don't see Fort Benton on this map, but anyway, it's in that area somewhere. They place their baits, skins, and wolves, and cure the hides. They spend a lot of time doing this. They're trying to earn enough money to be successful, of course. And when they reach town, when they get back after their outing, which is, when they say they're going to go out hunting, doesn't mean like we're going hunting today. We're going hunting for a couple of years, people. So they they have to be on alert at all times because, so people, the Indians want to steal their pelts or their horses or just kill them and scalp them. Of course, the Gros Ventres have enemies on multiple sides, and hunters could easily get caught in the middle. So overall, we'll talk about survival on the plains, alliances, trade, constant danger, and trying to keep working even when the country around you feels like it could explode at any moment. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I mean, it's kind of a crazy thing with these natives.
And if you conquered a squad or a group or whatever, if you whooped somebody, then you would take whatever they had. It wouldn't just be one or two items.
Yeah.
You would, a lot of times, especially remember what was said, that after Little Bighorn, they were told to not strip the soldiers, to leave them alone, remember? And
Yep.
But the women went out there after the battle and stripped them. And so they took their shirts, their hat, their shoes, whatever they had, they took. So, and it was common. I mean, even in medieval times, if you conquered somebody, you took their stuff,
Yep.
Oh,
That's
look, I got me a new belt. Oh, man, I got a new dagger, So,
Yeah.
And that's just the way it has been for eons. If you conquered somebody, meaning you killed them or whatever, maybe you just beat the tar out of them and still you took their stuff. So taking their stuff was common with everybody.
Yeah, it was a trophy. Take their horses.
Yep, thank you.
Horses
That's the word I was looking for. It's the trophy.
Yeah, horses were valuable. The stuff like a good bow, maybe a spear or a lance, trinket,
or a hatchet,
trinkets. Like when the white man would get killed, they would take their pocket watches, or even though they couldn't tell time, they would break them up and use them as ornaments on their clothing and things like that.
Yep.
Because Susie Q's in the house and she says it's the spoils of war.
Yep.
So it's the natural law. The cougar will take the meat from tiny bobcat. Yep. That's exactly it. So anyway, where am I going to start here? We're going to start where, I'm going to summarize all of this. The meeting of the Gros Ventres, they met them in camp, and they were. This is how our guy Hamilton. He is the narrator of this story. He wasn't really there to be a trapper. He was there to write a book or take notes, but he helped the trappers out. He was there more of an observer. I think he went out there. He had the opportunity to go. He didn't want to be a trapper. He wanted to observe and write a book. He wanted to tell the story and experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so this was his opportunity. And they didn't really want to take him in the beginning because he's just a greenhorn and he don't know anything. And somehow he gained the trust of one of the guys, and okay, you can come with, but you're going to have to hold your own, and we're going to have to get you some Western clothes here, because you can't go in those city slicker clothes. So they got him all fixed up, and they're going to teach him the ways and take him with, and he writes about all this. So, like I said, this is the book. It's really good, and this is what we're reading from. So anyway. His group is trying to survive and profit off the plains while managing dangerous relationships among different native groups. And remember, there's all these natives around, and you got to pick the right one because, hey, these are friendlies and these are not friendlies. There was rival war parties fighting amongst themselves, especially the Bloods. The whole section is that we're going to talk about today is about alliances and trade, constant threat, mixed with everyday work of trapping and collecting wolf skins. They're out there collecting because those paid really good. There was other skins that paid, like gray fox or black fox paid really well too. What was it? Mink, not mink, but fishers. I guess fishers paid really well too. And that country was loaded with fishers. When you get cold weather and trees, you got a lot of the fishers. And if you don't know what a fisher is, look it up. It's a really cool animal. It's kind of like a badger that climbs trees. You know what I mean? And it's really mean, like a Wolverine kind of thing almost. Okay, where we're going to start in. At this point, the hunters have already had violent trouble with the Blood Indians, and Hamilton, our narrator, is traveling with people like Old Wolf. Now we'll get into him, and I'll give you some lowdown on Old Wolf later. And Liver Eater. Liver Eater is who? Liver Eater Johnson. You know about him. He's pretty famous, and we talked about him on this show. Anyway, he was a trapper way back in the day, and they're now interacting with the Gros Ventres. The big idea early on is the hunters need help and information on the Gros Ventres and have their own goals, especially safety and advantage in warfare. Now, I know from reading the book, and I don't know where that part is in here, but when they did end up striking a deal with the Ventres to not get it killed, they ended up making a camp a few miles, not in the over there. They packed them miles away. They made their camp. Talk about not wanting to get into town and living on the prairie. Let's make our camp about 5 miles this way. And if you need us, you just come and get us. And they did. They would travel the 5 miles back and forth because they're just, to help out or see what they could trade for or something. It's crazy. Okay, so.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ventres?
Ventre, Ventre, Ventre. Gross.
And who are they?
These are another tribe up in the mountains there. They're kind of more plains.
So they're a tribe.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So early in this part, Pharmacy sends word back to the two young Gros Ventres in their village. The message is basically, we've been fighting the Bloods with our white friends. Now, like I said, the white man teamed up with the Gros Ventres. And he says, I'm moving my village tomorrow to a certain bottom, like a river bottom area, where there's water. And they usually centered themselves around water. And where you get water, you get grass. And I found another thing is where you get grass and you also get what? Trees. Because now you're kind of on the plains here. The Gros Ventres are more plains, hunting buffalo all the time kind of thing. And they would feed their horses cottonwood branches. It was almost like giving them hay. Even in the winter, you could feed them these branches. They gnaw off the bark, the leaves, everything like that. And then where there's branches, they would use these branches to make corrals. You could cut the branches off the trees and make corrals to put your horse in. Amazing what they thought of. I thought, oh my gosh, I never even thought about it. Instant corral, just whack down some brush and you make a pen out of the brush.
And also, what most people go, well, why did these Indians put up their teepees here? Because at the bottom of the mountain and where the plains go over to the river, that area is flat. Because you don't want to set your teepee up on a slope. So when they see the grass, when they see that, they're also looking for a relatively flat area, which that also came along with it.
Well, you get water. Well, if you're near a river, there's also grass. Grass.
But what I mean is, if you're native and you're setting up your teepee, you don't want to be sleeping sideways. So they also look for that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, I agree. Okay, so he's going to move his village And he tells the white men, we're moving our village to a low area near the river so the hunters and others will know where to find him. The village move is not random. Pharmacy is thinking strategically about protection and about access to resources like buffalo. So, these guys were really smart. They
were not stupid. I mean, they would look at like, well, here's these two peaks that come down, and there's a narrow there. And so if we camp on this side of the narrows, we can keep an eye on that spot because it's narrow. They thought about all kinds of stuff.
Yes, they did. Okay, now they had a recent attempt at the Bear Paw Mountains where they were, battling with the Bloods and stealing their horses. Pharmacy also tells him about something that happened about 10 days earlier. Some Indians tried to steal their horses from his people. His young men chased the thieves into the Bear Paw Mountains, but they didn't catch or kill anyone. What matters here isn't just the chase, it's the identification. Pharmacy believes that the thieves are Bloods, and he connects that to what the hunters have been dealing with. Remember, they're battling somebody. The Bloods are Blackfeet, and Blackfeet are known for being very protective of their land. They didn't like trading or letting hunters or trappers on their land. They knew they were one of the few tribes that really knew the value, especially out west, of these pelts. They, the other tribes didn't, there's just, thousands of buffalo. You can go kill whatever you want. There's just thousands of wolves. You're kind of helping us out. But I think the Blackfeet had the idea of, hey, that's like money on legs. Those are ours. This is our territory. We fought for it. This is ours. And we don't want you here. So you have to take
and that. Also, you brought up something, and the word is value. Yes. So to other tribes, that wolf pelt had new value. Yeah. So, but unless you traded with the white man who gave you a reason to say that fox over there has value, you go skin that sucker and I can give you something for it. What? Mm-hmm. So then, so the idea of value. So other tribes just didn't understand what the word value even meant. They traded things back and forth, but there's seashells around one guy's neck and another guy's got a flint knife. They don't know what the value of these items are. They just want to trade.
Yeah, they do.
This knife for those seashells, and the guy who's got the seashells thinks, well, wait a minute now. It took me a long time to get these seashells. He probably knocked out that flint knife in no time at all. Maybe these seashells are more valuable than that flint knife. So he might say, well, what else you got? Can you throw something in? Yeah, well, I got a couple of arrowheads. How about that? Okay, the deal's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but because I have watched, the reason I'm talking about this is because I have literally at a powwow watched two natives bartering for stuff, and one of them, rest his soul, was a flint napper, and so he was offering a knife for this other item, and he was like, nah, I don't know, what else you got? And he goes, well, I got this here, and laid out a couple more items. He goes, well, I'll take the blade and I'll take that right there. And then they swapped. So this is pretty much a true story, and it was just a couple of years ago. So, but anyway, that's how that. But as far as the Blackfoot were concerned, they understood what the value was, and they went, ooh, I see money running along out there on four legs. So I'm sorry, I just, just a lot of the other natives did just not understand the value of things, the value of the land. They was just like, No,
I totally agree.
To it.
I totally agree with those things, and that's the thing. the natives warred among themselves, and then, there's lots of land, there's lots of buffalo. I mean, I can't imagine a native out there saying, "Oh, you're taking one of my buffalo." There's millions as far as the eye can see. They're out there looking, "Oh, I can't even see the end of the herd." Well, did they ever think that the white man was going to come and kill them all? I mean, I don't even think they had any clue until one day they went out there and went, "I can't see any buffalo." They killed them all.
No concept.
Yeah.
No.
And in such a short period of time, that's hard to wrap your head around. It'd be like, going outside and you hear birds and everything, and you're like, "Oh, listen, all Tweety birds." And then 2 days later you go out, there's no more Tweety birds. We sprayed some stuff and we killed all the birds in the world. They're all dead. What? When did this happen? Yesterday. Who said they could? I didn't even know they were going to do that. Well, somebody decided somewhere, and they did it yesterday.
Yeah, those buffalo guns were loud too. And so when they had, 100 men shooting buffalo, imagine off in the distance, because where I'm sitting here at the bottom of the hill in this neighborhood, I can hear my neighbors shooting. And from half a mile away, I can hear a gunshot go off, So it's like, imagine a bunch of hunters killing the buffalo, and the natives, what is that noise? I'm over the hill, and there's boom, 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 boom. I mean, it must have been atrocious.
Yeah. Well, they had guys out there too, they would go out, and the 2 or 3 guys would shoot, and then you got 4 or 5 guys skinning and curing the buffalo and taking the stuff back. You got little groups out there of men all over the place. Yeah, it was a mess, And then of course you got these trappers, and this was before they were slaughtering all the buffalo. These trappers were out there, going after the wolves, going after the pelts, the foxes and things like that, because that was the profitable thing at the time. So, but I can imagine being a native saying, "Oh, you're going to come and kill a lot of the wolves? Good for you." And wolves, they, after reading this book, I didn't realize how did they kill. You know how they killed wolves? Do you have any clue? Yeah, neither did I, until I read this, and it really made me sad, because what they did would they would shoot an animal, like an elk or a buffalo or whatever it is. They would poison the meat with some kind of whatever it was, chemical stuff. The wolves would come and eat the meat and then die, like mice coming to eat poison. And the wolves would, they would eat, and in a few days they would just die, and then all they had to do is go pick them up. And the one guy was saying they could kill 100 wolves on one pile of meat.
One carcass.
Yeah, one carcass. That's what I was looking for. But can you imagine 100 wolves dead? Whew, because you poison one carcass. And wolves paid really well. So there you go. Let's get back to this. So we got Nance, and she's a native that they captured, from one of the Bloods when they were feuding with, or they're fighting the white man. And she was of another tribe. She wasn't a Blood. She was another tribe. And so she was happy to team up with the white men. And actually, a lot of the native women were happy to be the brides of white men, because they didn't have to do so much work, and the white man treated them so much better, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
So, just an FYI there. So we get back to this, and Nance warns them about hostile groups, and Pharmacy suggests that Bloods who attacked the hunters were the same ones that his young men and had chased. And then they get to tactical points. Some of the Bloods escaped the earlier fight, and those survivors signaled other Bloods. Oh boy. And that means the threat grows. the narrator even runs numbers, like basically like saying if one set of bloods joined up with another group, their combined force could be close to 30. And the enemy is not gone. They can just regroup and come back stronger, especially if they're hidden in the mountains and move strategically. So now you're fighting 3 guys. He teams up with 4 or 5. They're sitting back there, and then he goes. Next, you got 30 guys out there, and you got a group of like 15. I think their group was like 15 guys. Okay, so
and also if your 15 guys are following a particular path to get back home, then these other guys can regroup and sometimes run ahead and then ambush you before you get to the house.
Well, and that's the thing. You can't send all your guys. When I was reading this, they were talking about how certain amount of guys would leave to go hunting or trapping or whatever they were going to do, right? And then some of the guys would stay back, and then they would work on the pelts. They would be stretching, cleaning, because that's a job too. So they're getting these. Yeah, so some of them were staying at the camp because you couldn't. If you just left your camp, then they could come back and get your horses and get your stuff, and either way you have to break up in groups. So half of them would go out. Now you've lowered the numbers that are out hunting, and because you have, if you're in the river putting in beaver traps, who's protecting you? Somebody's got to be watching your back. And if you're out there picking up the hides off that wolf, who's watching your back? So you got to go in teams. You can't just go out there by yourself. You're just asking for it, I guess. So Wolf explains to the chief that the hunters lost 2 horses to the Bloods and in the last fight, and Pharmacy responds by promising him to give them 2 horses, good horses, the next day. And then so he follows through with that. The matter becomes an alliance building in the material proof of the horses and the pelts and the guns and trade goods. Everyone is constantly measuring whether the relationship is beneficial and reliable. So every time you're making a trade, you're saying, oh, okay, he did me good. He didn't try to kill me. He gave me a fair trade. He didn't come over with 2 unbroke horses that tried to kill me, kind of thing. The hunters also give gifts. They present 3 scalps and pelts, plus flintlock guns and Indian trinkets. Remember, they like mirrors, shiny things, ribbons, cloth, beads, blankets. The chief and the Gros Ventres are clearly pleased. And one so they talk about this and how big the exchange is. The Gros Ventres wouldn't have traded wouldn't have traded 10 horses for what they received. So the gifts are a serious investment by the hunters into this alliance. So everybody making big trades, trying to shake hands and make good friends. Okay, well, Pharmacy sees moves. Buffalo and danger from the long hair. Okay, long hair meaning, men. Okay, when the Pharmacy is moving his village into the river bottom. Buffalo are located about 10 miles higher up, so moving brings the village closer to the herd. But there's a second reason, safety. Then we talked about this. The buffalo being higher and closer to the hunter's camp gives Pharmacy a double incentive because of a case of an attack from the long hair's warriors being positioned well matters. This phrase is part of the narrative of the suggests outside military danger. So Pharmacy is balancing multiple threats, tribal warfare, and the pressure from organized armed forces. So yeah, you think there's nothing out here, but there is. Okay, so the Gros Ventres.
For example, he's checking. There's an outcrop up there. He's going to put a sentry up there. I mean, he's looking at the lay of the land because as he has to look at what's going on as an army general.
Yes, yeah, that's the chief for sure. Because you not only battling the Bloods, you got the long hair whom might come and get you too. so you got a little bit of both sides, and you're thinking, who do I trust? So here's these mountain men come along. They trade some horses, Indian trinkets. He says, you know what? I guess I can trust these guys. Okay. Okay. After the Gros Ventres leave, after saddling their horses, the Gros Ventres chief warns the hunters to be careful and not trust any Indians except Gros Ventres. Then they say goodbye and they rush off, eager to bring news back to their village. News of fighting the Bloods and the trophies of and goods that were involved in this big trade. So this was a big event, trading with these Indians and making an alliance. This is called almost for a celebration kind of thing. Anyway, there's tension. The hunters necessarily want the village moved closer because it might interfere with the so they're worried about collecting their wolf hides, and they're worried about the village coming too close because, more people are going to scare those wolves away. They don't currently have any quarrel with the Assiniboines. Basically, the hunters aren't trying to start trouble. Trouble keeps finding them. So the Assiniboines are there too. And then comes a great line of meaning that between the Gros Ventres and the hunters. There's uncertainty, like striking flint and steel. The relationship could spark into a conflict at any time. That's because each party expects the other one to help in emergencies. And of course, expectations turn into reassessment quickly. So, hey, we're under attack. Are you going to come help? If you don't come help, well, guess what? You're now the enemy. So then we got Assiniboines on one side, and the Bloods are returning. Okay, so the Assiniboines might attack the Gros Ventres village any day or night, and the Bloods will likely show up again. So the hunters could be pulled into bigger regional conflict, whether they want to be or not. So here's another bad thing. If you team up with the Gros Ventres and you're fighting the Assiniboines or the Bloods, you really ain't going to go over there and start trading with either one of those tribes. And if you're out hunting, they might kill you too. Because, hey, you just killed my cousin or something. And, in that fight we had last week. I see a scalp on your gun stock or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
So, and also, you have lost a potential business partner or trading partner. So there's that too.
Yes, exactly. So now we got Mr. Penholder and the purpose of notes. Remember, we talked about how the smart guy would keep notes and track of the hides because he could count, he could read, things like that. Okay, so Old Wolf and Liver Eater about trappers at Fort Benton not joining the hunt, and the response is harsh. They call those men cowards, and they say they're glad they didn't come because the camp can protect itself better without them. So these trappers are really brave men. If you go back to the fort because there's Indian troubles, well, you're a coward. So they lost some of their guys. Then they tease or challenge Mr. Penholder. This is our narrator, the guy writing the book. They basically ask him if he's weakening and suggest he can go back to the fort because before the Bloods return. Then he says, this statement, he says he's not weakening, he's not going back, and he's taking notes. And someday he wants to write a true story of the mountaineers he met, assuming he doesn't die or get scalped. So he asks permission to stay and remain with the group until they return to Fort Benton. And then Old Wolf and Liver Eater then soften and tell him not to take offense. They say that they're glad to have him and that they can take he can take whatever he wants. And that moment is important because it shows that this guy isn't just a worker, he's also an observer, and he's trying to justify why he's in a dangerous place with a notebook. Because not too many guys would go out there with a notebook trying to write a story. only a few people did. This guy wasn't the only one. There was a few that went out, took pictures, drew pictures. I shouldn't say took pictures, drew pictures, things like that.
And something that so the white man's over there scribbling something in a notebook, and the natives do not understand that.
That's
now
true.
An artist that went out and drew pictures of what was going on, that visual the natives could get. Good man, he'd draw a picture, and then there's this other white guy that's got this little notebook and a pencil, and they don't have a clue what he's up to because they don't understand it. He's, well, I'm writing this down. And they're like, huh? Because they can't read. They don't understand that he's writing down the notes for the stories. So, but that's the difference between the writer and the artist.
Yep. In one part of the story, he does magic. And he's at the Indian village doing something. I can't remember what. And just what you're saying, he writes something down on a piece of paper. And he says, you Indian guys, you take this and go back to my camp. I need this. And he gives them a piece of paper and he says, they will give you something and bring it back. And they don't know what to make of this. And he says, well, why don't you just tell me? And he says, it's on the piece of paper. And they will know. And they ride there and they give them stuff and he brings it back. And the Indians just can't believe how that piece of paper, conveyed this message because they just didn't understand, the meaning of writing, like you were saying. But it was magic to them. Magic.
Because everything was verbal.
Yes.
For them, everything was verbal.
Remember?
Three pelts and 2 of these and bring them back. And so here's a piece of paper and they go, what? So that's the magic of it.
Well, like in one of the stories or events we read about, a long time ago, and the natives, this was back when they were going to get rid of the Spanish. And the natives had went around and said, okay, on this day, we're going to do, we're going to rise up. And he conveyed the message by giving each tribe a bundle of sticks. Remember that? He gave them all a bundle of sticks. And he says, every day you take 1 stick out. And then when there's no more sticks, that's the day. When the sun is high in the sky, that's the time. And then that's how he got the message around to all the natives. And they all rose up on the same day. And without a telegraph, without notes that somebody could catch them and say, what do you got here? I'm reading this. Oh my gosh, you're sending secret. There was no radio signals, nothing. A bundle of sticks. And
there's 30 sticks. And on the 30th day, 36 at noon, time to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it went. Yeah. So, they had their own way of doing it, but the white man's way of writing it on paper was still like magic to them. So anyway, let's get back into this. We got a little bit more and then your story here. So in this, as we go through this chapter, the white men that were wounded, they're getting better. They're, at camp. Around 9 o'clock in the morning, they spot about 50 mounted Indians coming quickly towards the camp. And at first it could be terrifying, seeing all 50 Indians coming at you. But they see it's the Gros Ventres decorated in war gear. Another chief appears limpy and describes it as the next chief to pharmacy. Limpy is with them. Limpy asks Old Wolf to see the scalps that they were fighting because they were fighting the Indians. Pharmacy had reported, and the men examined the pelts carefully, and when satisfied, they reacted with huge excitement, jumping up and giving a loud war whoop. The hunters give Limpy 2 pelts, a gun, and other peltries, taking the from the blood. So again, trophies, because the Bloods had attacked their camp, and the white man, being the white man, fought them off because they had the superior weapons. And some of their guys got wounded, but they captured pelts, they captured guns, they captured scalps, and they gave them to the Gros Ventres, and they couldn't believe it, that they were going to get guns and scalps, and they were just giving them to them.
And trinkets.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so the Gros Ventres disputed the remaining guns and the pelts among their head warriors, and they still have 7 scalps left, which makes them ecstatic. They shake hands with the hunters and declare themselves great warriors. Even though they didn't go hunting, they didn't be in the battle. They said, we're great warriors. Okay, coup sticks, scalp songs, and move to the bottom. So the chief explained their lodges will soon be moved down to the bottom, and they need to go select a village site. The group rides out with the scalps tied long willow branches called coup sticks or foot. No, they ride off of some like a military order, singing their scalps song loudly. So they had a scalp song. I didn't even know that. Okay. The singing could have stampeded their horses, but they said, okay. Big loud noises could have consequences out there. Remember, everything is really quiet compared to nowadays. Today, you go outside, you hear cars going by, planes flying in the air, jets, your fridge, even in your house. Just stop for a second. Listen, your refrigerator's running, your freezer's running, the lights are making noise, the fan is making noise, the furnace comes on. You got beeping on your phone or whatever. Everything's making noise. We just don't pay attention to it anymore.
Yep.
Okay, with the hostile tribes around, they decided to collect as many wolf pelts as possible, as quickly as possible, and they put some men on skinning the wolves at existing baits. Again, like I was saying, other men to the west side of the Milk River to set more baits, and buffalo bulls and wolves are moving around nearby. They come a striking... let's see here, the buffalo carcass, which quickly and they use the poison on. There's 1 ounce of the drug for a carcass. So 1 ounce of this poison per carcass, and that amount should kill 100 wolves, they said. So that's kind of their system. The economics of this is the money part. The hunters' aim is to collect enough wolf pelts so each man can have not less than $500 credited when they reach Fort Benton. This math in this time was they needed about 2,400 hides at $3 each. He emphasizes this was extremely hard work, but possible when wolves were plentiful and hostile groups left them alone. He claims a hunter might skin 40 to 60 wolves in a day.
Wow.
And suggests that in 10 days they could exceed the target if uninterrupted. Wow.
Of 2,400 dead wolves.
Yeah, we're worrying about wolves now, and they talk about restocking wolves, but 2,400 wolves is about the whole population. And then they're saying, well, that'll give each guy $500. Yeah, holy mackerel. But what could you buy with $500 back in those days? You could buy a farm and land and horses and stock and cow.
Yeah, $500 was like $100,000 to now, what you could buy. So yeah, you could buy wives, you could buy land,
Yeah, well, this is why they were risking their lives. This is the whole point of it, right?
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to get into something really important. It's going to be the last bit of it. Is sign language. So this guy rides out. He's the writer guy, and out after he needs to visit the village, and he wanted to visit the village. He describes himself as a stranger in the Gros Ventres camp, but says he's an expert sign talker. meaning he can communicate through plain sign language, which helps him to be accepted. He sees that advanced guard of the pack animals and families moving towards timber by the river, while mounted warriors ride in a circle singing the scalp song. And Pharmacy tells him in sign language, to dismount. The Indians surround his horse and examine it like experts. Through sign language, they indicate the horse is good and they know they want to trade for it, but he refuses. He says the lodges are begin appearing quickly as the village forms. He observes that the Gros Ventres seem similar to the Arapahoes, remember the Plains Indians, and he tells Pharmacy that he says that they're alike, and he's telling about the Arapahoes, and he asks if he knows the Arapahoes. This matters. It shows that he is trying to categorize people. He's trying to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, in conversation with him, he goes, "Did you know that you're like these guys down here?" And
yep.
What we would consider simple conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so that now that they got these hides, they killed off some of the warriors. They got these pelts. He's there and he's witnessing a celebration. From all these trinkets and things they got. He says there are fully about 400 warriors mounted and painted in holiday attire with scalps held high, singing war and scalp dance songs. He notes that quite a number had gone to the hunters' camp too. So their traffic between the camps and the whole region feels mobilized. So the hunters' camp here, their camp over here, and people are going back and forth. Now I know why the hunters were saying we don't want them too close, because they're going to keep coming back and forth, hoping to trade more or get more trinkets or whatever, and you're going to scare all the animals away.
And not only that, but sometimes you're talking about 400, warriors. That's not counting everybody else in the tribe. And sometimes they're just, if you're camped between a slope and the river, there's also only so much territory, flat land that everybody can camp on. So, the hunting party goes up a little ways and finds another suitable area and they set up camp there. So there's also that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So now he's at this thing. They're having a celebration, but he's invited to the chief's lodge. They prepare a feast for him of boiled buffalo tongue, pemmican, and dried berries and sweetened tea. He notes that the chiefs keep sweetened tea stored for occasions like this. So sweet tea, whatever it is for special occasions. So sweet stuff was special. After eating, they smoke, and the lodge is full of important warriors. They question this guy about the conflict with the Bloods. They want to know because he can do the sign language, and he's the only one that can really talk with them. After questions, Pharmacy changes into a war shirt and a bonnet. Of course, no, probably a big headdress, described as unique and costly, apparently decorated with a huge amount of ermine skins and rare feathers.
Ermine,
yeah. I don't know what an ermine is.
It's like a weasel. It's like a oh crap. A furry thing that they made a fur coat out of. What do they call them?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh well.
Okay. So anyway, ermine skins and rare feathers. I imagine eagles or something like that. And then the guy says, "Hey, I want one of those shirts someday." And Pharmacy has a young man bring horses. Pharmacy selects, and remember, Pharmacy's the chief. He selects 2 strong travois ponies and essentially gifts them. And our poet or our writer, our note taker guy, remarks on one of the horses being a good one, and Pharmacy explains the horse is a Sioux, captured from one of the Sioux, and then he captured it or stole it in 12 moons earlier, so about a year earlier. So he's had this horse for a while. And then they head back to the hunter's camp with the young man following and leading the horses. So he went there, talked with them. Ain't that a good thing? And then he gifted him 2 horses.
Yeah, but also a travois, which is sort of like giving him a wagon.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, he, a travois is, those 2 sticks and travels behind the horse, for folks that don't know what a travois is. But, but back then it was like a wagon. It was equal to a wagon.
Susie Q says that's a mink, an ermine.
Thank you very much. Oh gosh, I could not think of it. Mink coats, absolutely. So
there you go. Yeah, good deal. Thank
you. I was sitting here going, God, oh.
Okay, so anyway, they arrive back at the Old Wolf and back at camp. Old Wolf and Silvertip are excited of the good news, and there's a party of 10 or 12 hunters in the Cypress area trapping black and silver gray foxes, which are really worth a lot of money, and they're camped on the creek north of the basin, the Cypress Basin. Old Wolf explains that what matters is if the Bloods overtake them or if the enemy is too numerous, they might reach the Cypress Basin before the Bloods do and get assistance. Old Wolf says he knows the party and that they are good men and he knows the terrain. Okay, Old Wolf's calm and confidence is, seems to be, from being shot. So Pharmacy makes a practical agreement with Liver Eater, and the plan is that when Pharmacy sends the next trading party to Fort Benton, so the Indians are going to Fort Benton trading too. He will pack all the hunters' skins there. In exchange, the hunters will give him a sack of sugar and 9 blood scalps. Again, no money, a sack of sugar. So sugar must have been really valuable.
Very valuable.
Yeah. Pharmacy asks where the old wolf skins are and how many. Liver Eater says they have them in a few days and baled up and ready for the chief's people to pack. The agreement is huge because it links warfare trophies, which is the scalps, and trade goods and the sugar, and and the commercial transport. So now the Indians have a job, and they pack and do a pack trip to Fort Benton. So this is an economy here. So anyway, I'm going to leave off right there, and we're going to go to your story, but we'll continue next week talking more about their adventure and, but like I said, I'm reading through this and I'm realizing there's a lot more to this story than just a story. It's the trade, learning and how it's just unimaginable today if somebody kills a wolf. Oh my gosh. I was just reading in what was it, Montana. I think the wolf harvest was like 400 wolves last year, or 450 or something like that, right? But this one guy or this one group of people, they're killing 2,400 in this just one area. I can't imagine how many wolves.
In the course of a couple of weeks.
Yes. I mean, just blows my mind. Blows my mind how many animals probably were out there, and we just can't fathom. You go out there, you get eaten by a wolf. Okay, we can't think about that because there was just so many of them. I mean, yeah, just so many wolves, so many buffalo, so many foxes and minks that they would hundreds and hundreds, or they would think in the thousands. I mean, let's go get us a 1,000 foxes and 2,500 wolves this winter, and like I said, you have a crew of guys. Some of them are just cleaning pelts, and other ones are out there trapping and hunting. And the poison, I wonder what kind of poison that was. 1 ounce I mean, you know what 1 ounce is? I mean, that's just like a little bit. 1 ounce is a little bottle. I mean, this here's a bottle, and that's like what? I forget how much was in there,
16 ounces in there.
16 ounces or something like that. And here, that's
or
enough.
12 ounces, yeah. So
That's
that
enough.
means that just that much on the bottom of that bottle.
Yeah, that's enough to kill 10,000 wolves there, eh?
But the natives also knew plants that, if boiled up and rendered out, that would make, they used as poisons. I mean, just like the natives in South America that, figured out what curare was, and they could put a little on the end of their spear tips and arrow heads and things, So
Yeah.
the natives knew about poisons, is my point.
Yeah.
So it might not have come from the white man, but probably it did, and it could have been cyanide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And something that they would, pour on the meat and rub it in good, and that's what was tainted. So, but
Well,
anyway,
and that's the thing. Whatever it was, had to be pretty dang good because wolves or dogs or any of that stuff,
they can smell.
They can smell stuff real good. So whatever this was, it didn't have a smell,
right?
And
or
because otherwise,
it didn't bother them.
Yeah, one or the other. But one carcass could kill 100 wolves, or 1 ounce of that stuff. That's just amazing. That is just amazing. So anyway, okay, I have the story pulled up for you, and
all right. So while I'm getting ready here, I've already pulled the cards.
Oh,
I'm ahead of you.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Oh, we got no. I'm just saying there are 7 cards in the spread tonight. So you got 7 choices, 7 chances, and I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Elderberry's got his in. He's got coyote, squirrel, rabbit, eagle, mountain lion, turtle. Let's see. Somebody else has got some in here too. And I'm trying to scroll through to figure out who's got what. But Lucky has posted the things to choose from. So you just have to scroll up in your thing here. But he has put them in for us. All either possum, all these ones, turtle. I'm thinking who else got theirs in. I'll find them out.
Folks that got 1 or 2 already. So
okay, there you go. Well, anyway, I'll scroll through here, but thank you, everybody. Put your guesses in. We'll see who's close. So just guess from your heart, and we'll figure it out. Either way, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, are you ready?
Almost. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. We got time. Take your time.
Behind.
And like I said, it's I'm learning a lot from these books. That's the thing. Every time I read stuff, it's like I was reading, in later on in the book as we get going, it's kind of funny to see what the natives, they were battling the Bloods, and the white man is like, here, come on, let's attack, let's keep attacking. And the natives were killing off the Bloods, but they would quit fighting and start taking the stuff off the bodies. Like, let's kill these guys and then go scalp them, and then we'll take all their trinkets and stuff. And it's like, no, we're in the midst of battle. You got to go, keep going, And that's I think that's what helped them, the white man, against the natives. The natives would, each kill was a trophy. They didn't care about the battle so much. Once they got everybody on the run, it was like, okay, we drove them back, and look at here, we killed 3-4 guys. Let's stop and take. Well, that gives the enemy time to get away. Whereas the white man was like, hey, you know, we're in battle. We're going to attack, and we're going to keep attacking and keep attacking and keep attacking until they're all gone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Different mentalities wins the war, I guess.
Yep.
You could say. Anyway, okay, if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's all.
Okay, so tonight's story is a continuation in the book Folklore and Legends, North American Indian, by Philadelphia J.B. Lippincott Company, 1891. So this was just before the turn of that century. The name of tonight's story is The Spirits and the Lovers. At the distance of a woman's walk of a day from the mouth of the river, called by the Palefaces the Whitestone, in the country of the Sioux, in the middle of a large plain, stands a lofty hill or mound. Its wonderful roundness, together with the circumference of its standing apart from all other hills, like a fir tree in the midst of a wide prairie, or a man whose friends and kindred have all descended to the dust, has made it known to all the tribes of the West. Whether it was created by the Great Spirit or filled up by the sons of men, whether it was done in the morning of the world, ask not me, for I cannot tell you. No, it is called by all tribes of the land the hill of little people, or the mountain of little spirits. No gifts can induce an Indian to visit it, for why should he incur the anger of the little people who dwell in it, and, sacrificed upon the fire of their wrath, behold his wife and children no more? In all the marches and counter marches of the Indians, in all their goings and returnings, in all their wanderings by day or by night, to and from the lands which lie beyond it, their paths are so ordered that none approaches near enough to disturb the tiny inhabitants of the hill. The memory of the red man of the forest has preserved but one instance when their privacy was violated, since it was known through the tribes that they wished for no intercourse with mortals. Before that time, many Indians were missing each year. No one knew what became of them, but they were gone and left no trace, no story behind. The valiant warriors filled their quivers with arrows, put new strings to their bows, new shod their moccasins, and sallied out to acquire glory in combat. But there was no wailing in the camp of our foes. Their arrows were not felt, their shouts were not heard. Yet they fell not by the hands of our foes, but perished we know not how. Many seasons ago, there lived within the limits of the great council fire of the Mahas a chief who was renowned for his valor and the victories in the field, his wisdom in the council, his dexterity and success in the chase. His name was Mahaturi, or the White Crane. He was celebrated throughout the vast regions of the West, from the Mississippi to the hills of the Serpent, from Missouri to the plains of bitter frost, for all those qualities which render an Indian warrior famous and feared. In one of the war expeditions of the Pawnee Mahas, against the burnt wood Tetons, it was the good fortune of the former to overcome and make many prisoners, men, women, and children. One of the captives, Sacagawea, or bird girl, a beautiful creature in the morning of life, after being adopted into one of the Maha families, became the wife of the chief warrior of the nation. Great was the love which the white crane had for his wife, and it grew yet stronger when she had brought him 4 sons and a daughter. Tatacoa, or the antelope. She was beautiful. Her skin was fair, her eyes were large and bright as those of the bison ox, and her hair black and braided with beads, brushed as she walked, the dew from the flowers upon the prairies. Her temper was gentle and her voice sweet. It may not be doubted that the beautiful Tatacoa had many lovers, but the heart of the maiden was touched by none of the noble youths who sought her. She bade them all depart as they came. She rejected them all. With the perseverance which is often seen among women, she had placed her affections upon a youth who had distinguished himself by no valiant deeds in war, nor by industry or dexterity in the chase. His name had never reached the surrounding nations. His own nation knew him not, unless as a weak and imbecile man. He was poor in everything which constitutes the richness of Indian life. Who had heard the twanging of Garcapaha's bow in the retreat of the bear, or who had beheld the war paint on his cheek or brow? Where were the scalps or the prisoners that betokened his valor or his daring? No song of valiant exploits had been heard from his lips, for he had none to boast of. If he had done aught becoming a man, he had done it when no was by. The beautiful Tatacoa, who knew and lamented the deficiencies of her lover, strove long to conquer her passion without success. At length, since her father would not agree to her union with her lover, the two agreed to fly together. The night fixed came, and they left the village of the Mahas and the lodge of the Montori for the wilderness. Their flight was not unmarked, and when the father was made acquainted with the disgrace which had befallen him, he called his young men around him and bade them pursue the fugitives, promising his daughter to whomsoever should slay Karkapaha. Immediately pursuit was made, and soon 100 eager youths were on the track of the hapless pair. With that unerring skill and sagacity in discovering footprints which marked their race, their steps were tracked and themselves soon discovered flying. What was the surprise of the pursuers when they found that the path taken by the hapless pair would carry them to the mountain of the little spirits, and they were sufficiently in advance to reach it before they could be overtaken. None of them durst venture within the supposed limits, and they halted till the white crane should be informed of his daughter and her lover, having placed themselves under the protection of the spirits. In the meantime, the lovers pursued their journey towards the fearful residence of a little people. Despair lent them courage to perform an act to which the stoutest Indian resolution had hitherto been unequal. They determined to tell their tale to the spirits and ask their protection. They were within a few feet of the hill when, on a sudden, its brow, on which no object had till now been visible, became covered with little people, the tallest of whom was not higher than the knee of the maiden, while many of them, but these were children, were of lower stature than the squirrel. Their voice was sharp and quick, like the barking of the prairie dog. A little wing came out at each shoulder. Each had a single eye, which eye was to the right in the men and to the left in the women, and their feet stood out at each side. They were armed like Indians, with tomahawks, spears, bows, and arrows. He who appeared to be the head chief, for he wore an air of command and had the eagle feather, came up to the fugitives and said, "Why have you invaded the village of our race, whose wrath has been so fatal to your people? How dare you venture within the limits of our residence? Know you not that your lives are forfeited?" Tatakoa, for her lover had less than the heart of a doe and was speechless, related their story. She told them how they had loved, how wroth her father had been, how they had stolen away and been pursued, and concluded her tale of sorrow with a flood of tears. The little man who wore the eagle feather appeared moved by what she said, and calling around him a large number of men who were doubtless the chiefs and counselors of the nation, a long consultation took place. The result was a determination to favor and protect the lovers. At this moment, Shongo Tongo, or the big horse, one of the braves whom Mahatori had dispatched in quest of his daughter, appeared in view in pursuit of the fugitives. It was not till Mahatori had taxed his courage that Big Horse had ventured on the perilous quest. He approached with the strength of heart and singleness of purpose which accompany an Indian warrior who deems the eyes of his nation are upon him. When first the brave was discovered thus wantonly, and with no other purpose but the shedding of blood, intruding on the dominions of the spirits, no words can tell the rage which appeared to possess their bosoms. Secure in the knowledge of their peril to repel the attacks of every living thing, the intrepid Maha was permitted to advance within a few steps of Karkapaha. He had just raised his spear to strike the unmanly lover when, all at once, he found himself riveted to the ground. His feet refused to move. His hands hung powerless at his side. His tongue refused to utter a word. The bow and arrow fell from his hand, and his spear lay powerless. A little child, not so high as the fourth leaf of the thistle, came and spat on him, and a company of the spirits danced around him, singing a taunting song. When they had thus finished their task of preparatory torture, 1,000 little spirits drew their bows, and 1,000 arrows pierced his heart. In a moment, innumerable mattocks were employed in preparing his grave, and he was hidden from the eyes of the living ere Tatakoa could have thrice counted over the fingers of her hand. When this was done, the chief of the little spirits called Karkapaha before him and said, Maha, you have the heart of a doe. You would fly from a roused wren. We have not spared you because you deserve to be spared, but because the maiden loves you. It is for this purpose that we will give you the heart of a man, that you may return to the village of the Mahas and find favor in the eyes of the Matori and the braves of the nation. We will take away your cowardly spirit, and we will give you the spirit of a warrior whom we slew, whose heart was firm as a rock. Sleep, man of little soul, and wake to be better worthy the love of the beautiful antelope. Then a deep sleep came over the Maha lover. How long he slept, he knew not. But when he woke, he felt at once that a change had taken place in his feelings and temper. The first thought that came to his mind was of a bow and arrow. The second was of the beautiful maiden who lay sleeping at his side. The little spirits had disappeared. Not a solitary being of the many thousands who, but a few minutes before, had filled the air with their discordant cries, was now to be seen nor heard. At the feet of Karkapaha lay a tremendous bow, larger than any warrior's ever yet used, a sheaf of arrows of the proportionate side, and a spear of a weight which no Maha could wield. Karkapaha drew the bow as an Indian boy bends a willow tree, and the spear seemed in his hand but a reed or a feather. The shrill war whoop burst unconsciously from his lips, and his nostrils seemed dilated with the fire and impatience of a newly awakened courage. The heart of the fond Indian girl dissolved in tears when she saw these proofs of strength and these evidences of spirit which she knew if they were coupled with valor. And how could she doubt the completeness of the gift to effect the purposes of the giver? Would thaw the ice feelings of her father and tune his heart to the song of forgiveness. Yet it was not without many fears, tears, and misgivings on the part of the maiden that they began their journey to the Maha's village. The lover, now a stranger to fear, used his endeavors to quiet the beautiful Tatakoa, and in some measure succeeded. Upon finding that his daughter and her lover had gone to the hill of the spirits, and that Shongo Togo did not return from his perilous adventure, the chief of the Mahas had recalled his braves from the pursuit, and was listening to the history of the pair. As far as the returned warriors were acquainted with it, when his daughter and her lover made their appearance. With a bold and fearless step, the once faint-hearted Karkapaha walked up to the offended father and, folding his arms upon his breast, stood erect as a pine and motionless as that tree when the winds of the earth are chained. It was the first time that Karkapaha had ever looked on angry men without trembling, and a demure so unusual in him excited universal surprise. Karkapaha is a thief, said White Crane. It is the father of Tatakoa that says it, answered the lover. Else would Karkapaha say it was the song of a bird that has flown over. My warriors say it. Your warriors are singing birds. They are wrens. Karkapaha says they do not speak the truth. Karkapaha has a brave heart and the strength of a bear. Let the braves try him. He has thrown away the woman's heart and become a man. Karkapaha is chains, said the chief thoughtfully. But how and when? The little spirits of the mountain have given him a new soul. Bid your braves draw this bow. Bid them poise this spear. Their eyes say they can do neither. Then is Karkapaha the strong man of his tribe? And as he said this, he flourished the ponderous spear over his head as a man would poise a reed, and drew the bow as a child would bend a twig. Karkapaha is the husband of Tatakoa, said Mahatori, springing to his feet, and he gave the maiden to her lover. The traditionary lore of the Mahas is full of the exploits, both in war and in the chase, of Karkapaha, who was made a man by the spirits of the mountain. The end. So there's our story for tonight. No killing or beheadings in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little disappointed. Oh, I'm sure there's others out there too.
No, but that's interesting that he got they had pity on him and gave him the heart of a warrior,
Yeah.
So it's like, here, you're not a coward, you have the heart of a woman, and we're going to trade you out here, and
Yep.
that there's nothing wrong with you, and that's why Tatakoa loved him. And so but he was gentle and kind and all these good things, but he couldn't fight or nothing. So the little ones gave him courage and a new heart. And that's just cool. But they killed that other. They killed that other dude and buried him quick. They didn't waste no time. 1,000 arrows pierced his heart. That must have hurt.
Everybody's getting their guesses in. It was a good story. Everybody likes the story. Elderberry's got Bobcat links.
Nope.
Okay, and Crystal's got swan, and Susie Q's got cougar, fox, weasel, grouse, whale, dragonfly, snake. Everybody's picking snake tonight.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Susie Q's nice story, Susie says.
Almost snake, but nope.
How about lynx? Joanne's got lynx.
Nope.
Mhm. Lucky has got butterfly, hawk, swan, rabbit, mountain lion, and spider and frog.
All right, y'all ready?
I bet you they are.
Is everybody
I know
picked?
I'm itching at everybody's picked, I think. I think everybody's picked.
Okay, 7 cards for tonight. All right. The first one is turtle upside down.
Oh, somebody got turtle.
Yep, a couple of people, I think. The next one is bat upside down.
I didn't see any bats, so.
The next one, and I haven't heard, is dolphin right side up.
Nope, didn't hear no
The next
dolphin.
one-
I heard a lot of whale.
The next one is rabbit.
We had rabbit last week.
Did we?
Yep.
No, we didn't have rabbit last week. No.
Oh, one of those.
I don't think fear was in it last week. But anyway, the next one up, number 8, is otter. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, number 6 card is number 12, porcupine, which has not been up in a while. And
no, it has not.
The next one up, as I look at this, it's the numbers are reversed. It's 12 for porcupine and 21 for owl. So it's 1, 2, 2, 1. That's interesting. And owl is right side up and is the last card in the spread. So got the book out.
We had otter last week or something.
I think so.
Sure,
yeah,
we had otter.
We've had otter recently. We've had bat recently. We've not seen turtle in a while.
Yeah.
We haven't seen porcupine. Owl hasn't been around for a while, so we've got some new cards.
We got turtle and rabbit. Let's see. Susie didn't get anything right. Everybody's looking for lynx and cougar and things like that.
Nope.
Swan. No.
We've got no felines in this. Otter is the.
Lucky's got rabbit and rabbit, right? And that's about it. But a lot of mountain lions this week. Everybody's going for mountain lion, bobcats. So
run for the hills. All right, so we're starting out with number 10. Turtle. Now, turtle is Mother Earth. And so in native teachings, turtle is the oldest symbol for the planet Earth. Now, you see that box turtle right there on my left, the big picture? I have a box turtle like that come and eats the cat's food on a regular basis. It walks up to the house. That one right there, you just had your cursor on. That big box turtle. I've got one of those in my yard that just comes by and says hi all the time. So, but anyway, so I'm blessed with turtle around my house. So turtle is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is the personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born of the womb of the earth, and to her soil our bodies will return. In honoring the earth, we are asked by turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she has given to us. Now, turtle is the fine teacher of the art of grounding. You may even be able to overcome some of your space cadet tendencies if you align with turtle medicine. In learning to ground, you are placing focus on your thoughts and actions and slowing to a pace that assure completions. Now, I've watched that little box turtle, and you say, oh, well, they're real slow. No, that sucker can get up and go, let me tell you. He's eating out of the cat's dish, and I turn around and, talk to Duggar and look around and turn back around, and that sucker's gone. So, but anyway, so that one you got there is almost exactly like the one that's in my yard. So now this turtle is upside down. So the turtle card in reverse means that Mother Earth is calling you to reconnect in some way. So, okay, everybody, Mother Earth is yakking at you. It's calling you to reconnect. If you have become flippant and forgotten to place waste in its proper place instead of throwing it out the car window, she is calling you. If you have felt alone in your time of need, she is calling you. If you've been struggling financially or had little to eat, or if you have desired a child and see no pregnancy in the near future, she is your medicine. Use it. You are not alone. Repeat, you are not alone ever. You are a child of earth. All acts of pleasure, joy, and abundance are given by the mother of the creative force. Use her energy to aid you, and you will be healed enough to share this energy with others. The idea of a turtle helplessly lying on its back, trying to right itself after it's been flipped over, can also symbolize the contrary turtle. You are not a victim and you are not helpless. Pay attention. This first card, really strong. You are not a victim and you are not helpless. Pay attention. No matter how much it may seem like this, um, to write the ill dignified turtle, you need only list things that you are grateful for. And from that grateful place in your heart, look for the abundance of alternatives that Mother Earth can give you. You are not a victim and you are not helpless. Man, oh man, oh man. Now, that is about, I think, is rebirth, number 42. Yep, rebirth. I'm getting good at remembering. But it's upside down. So that embraces the idea of a shamanistic death. The ritual death of the healer is steeped in secrets and highly involved initiation rites. The shaman death is the symbolic death of the initiate to the old ways of life and personal identity. The initiation that brings the right to heal and to be called shaman is necessarily preceded by a ritual death. Now, that is true. As I have learned along my shaman journey, I had to, go inside and, a night of darkness and, yep. So you got to get rid of your old self to become the new. You can't be dragging a bunch of stuff from your previous thought pattern or consciousness in, because if you're going to be a healer, you can't bring, negative things or false things or whatever in. So, but anyway, that's upside down. If you have met its contrary medicine, this position leads to stagnation of the spirit. Okay, so Turtle's saying, hey, you need to ground yourself and right yourself. Don't be a victim. You know, you're not useless. So, is there some area in your life that has been dammed up and therefore stopped your desire to create? If so, look at surrendering to the death of that stagnation. Turtle saying the same thing. Write yourself, get yourself, So if there's something that is being being a stagnation to your spirit or to yourself, get over it. That can also imply that in the reversal of your natural cycle of rebirth, you're trying to go at life in a backwards mode. So that might mean as a turtle, you're trying to right yourself in the wrong direction. This is a breech birth in a sense. This type of occluded understanding of how to go about freeing yourself can lead to a stillbirth if you struggle too long in the birth canal. In other words, you're trying to be the new person and you're struggling and struggling, and I don't know if this is right. And the next thing you know, you become stagnated in the birth canal of trying to become that new person. And all of a sudden you end up going backwards or sideways. And so you need turtle to right yourself. By the time let's see, reverse bat says to use your mind, courage, and strength to ensure an easy labor and quick delivery of your new self. Surrender to the new life that you have created from the thoughts and desires and bravely greet that new dawn. So, turtle, you're not a victim, you're not useless. Bat saying, you know, to use your mind, courage, and strength to ensure an easy transition into the new self. That's some strong medicine right there. Now, number 40, just a couple of pages away, is dolphin, and it's in the right side up position. So we've had two cards upside down, but neither one of them have been negative. They've both been strong, like get up, come on, this is, you can do this. And dolphin is about mana. Dolphin speaks to us of the breath of life, the only thing that humans cannot go without for more than a couple of minutes or less. We can live without water and food for days, but oxygen is the source of our sustenance. Within the breath, we encounter the rhythm of energy that all life emits. In changing the rate or the rhythm of or the texture of our breath, we can tap into any other life form or creature. This is a very easy way to connect with the divine energies coming from the Great Spirit, as well as with our own personal rhythms. Dolphin is the keeper of the sacred breath of life and teaches us how to release emotions through dolphin breath. Dolphin creates rhythm, swimming through the water and breathing before submerging, then holding its breath for the duration of the underwater travel. As dolphin comes above water, it blows its breath out in a manner resembling the popping of a cork. Mana is life force. Mana is present in every atom. Mana is present in every atom and is the essence of Great Spirit. In every atom, Dolphin teaches us how to use life mana through our breath. So if we get overwrought and we're anxious and people can hyperventilate, oh my God, I don't know, that ain't using it correctly. And for those of us who have learned over the years, When you start hyperventilating, you lose control. But when you slow your breath down, and that also calms you, and you can see a situation a lot better. So you've got these two first ones. Bat, is the rebirth of the spirit, of the soul, of the person. And upside down turtle is like ground yourself. You are not a victim. You're not. So we're not useless. Our rebirth into our new self. And in every breath we breathe in the essence of the creator, of the great spirit. So 3 cards in a row. So we've got the setup, our rebirth now. And if we take in Dolphin's message, then we will have all of this great energy that all we got to do is breathe, right? The mana. Now, the next one, consequently, is rabbit, which is fear. Now, we've heard the story of rabbit many times, how he had a friend who was a witch, and the witch did some things that scared rabbit, and rabbit decided, that he just wasn't going to hang around the witch anymore, and the witch cursed him and all of his kin. But from this day forward, I lay a curse on you and your tribe. From now on, you will call your fears, and your fears will come to you. For the sweet medicines that bound us together as friends are now broken. So now Rabbit is the fear caller. He goes out and shouts, Eagle, I am so afraid of you. If Eagle doesn't hear him, Rabbit calls out even louder. Eagle, stay away from me. Eagle, now hearing Rabbit, comes and eats him. As the story shows, rabbit medicine people are so afraid of tragedy, illness, disaster, and of being taken that they call those very fears to them to teach them lessons. So if you're afraid of something, it's trying to teach you a lesson. So as you're afraid of it, it's like, well, I don't know. Like as a young boy, like of 5 years old, they threw me in a swimming pool and said, you're going to learn how to swim. And I was afraid as hell of that water. But, you have to overcome that fear. And so now it's like, okie dokie, I'm not afraid of water. So here's Rabbit coming in after, to me, 3 very strong cards. And here's Rabbit coming in with fear. So now, if Dolphin's the man and it's giving you all this good energy, and then Rabbit shows up. Why? To me, it says that don't call the fears to you. Rabbit's warning you. Rabbit medicine people are so afraid of things that they call those very fears to them. So it's like, oh my God, oh, there's a flu out there. What am I going to do? Oh, I might get the flu and get sick. And don't call that stuff to you. As Turtle said, you are not a victim and you are not useless. Don't be a victim. Don't call these things to you. Okay? That's the trick from that card. So you got all these cards, strong cards. And now there's Rabbit card. Don't be afraid of stuff. Now, next one up is Otter, which is playful otter who doesn't have an enemy unless somebody tries to mess with it. So it's very playful, great spirit, is like, the otter can sneak up behind it and sneak something out of the pocket of great spirit and would never know. But otter is woman medicine. So medicine held by otter is a set of lessons of female energy. So you're coming up here, don't fear stuff. And now Otter's saying we got some female energy coming in here, but this applies to both men and women, as all of us have female sides. Otter's very caring of its young and will play for hours, performing all kinds of tricks and things. The elements, the otter lives on land, but always has its home near water. We've got otters that live on our river in the backyard. Me and Ricky both have seen them together, actually. The elements of earth and water are the female elements. At home in both, otter is the personification of femininity, long, sleek, and graceful. The character traits are the beauty of a balanced female side. So we're looking at this coming up here, and rabbit is like, fearful, but now otter is saying we need balance here. Okay. So otter teaches us that balanced female energy is not jealousy or cattiness. It is content to enjoy and share the good fortune of others, anchored in the understanding that all accomplishments are worthwhile for the whole tribe. Otter people express joy for other people. So we're coming up here, and so express joy for other people. So that kind of means, quit being scared with rabbit. Dolphins, like, take in the breath. Everything around you is manna for you. And honor is, excuse me, otter is saying we need to balance energies out. And telling us that if we've had the rabbit card to be fearful, otter is telling us to be playful and not be afraid. Okay. So the next one up is porcupine, which is supposed to be the Knowles family crest, a porcupine. And here is wonderful. We've got otter that is, joyful and playful and everything. And porcupine is about innocence. So playfulness and innocence coming in right behind each other. That's like a double whammy. So south of the medicine wheel is the place of childlike innocence and humility. And Otter said what? To be more playful. So it is the home of playfulness and the position of porcupine on the medicine wheel of life. So we got two cards back to back. We're talking about playfulness and being joyful. Porcupine has many special qualities and a very powerful medicine. The power of faith and trust. So Otter's playful and won't bother anybody unless it's bothered by. Porcupine here is the home of playfulness, and it is the power of faith and trust. So after all these cards up here, ground yourself in a rebirth, take in the breath of the dolphin, stop being fearful, begin to be more playful, and porcupine is telling us that we have the power of faith and trust coming up. How about that one, my friends? Through understanding the basic nature of this animal, you may come to understand your own need for trust and faith, and for becoming like a child again. If you were to observe porcupine, you would immediately notice its quills. These quills are only used when trust has been broken between porcupine and any other creature. Much like otter, ding, 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 ding. Much like otter, porcupine is a gentle, loving creature and non aggressive, When fear is not present, ding, 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 rabbit, you know, it is possible to feed a porcupine by hand and never get stuck by its quills. Ding, 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 ding. So all of these three cards are related to each other. The power of faith contains within it the ability to move mountains. The power of trust in life involves trusting that the Great Spirit has a divine plan. Your task is to find the pathway that is most beneficial for you and uses your greatest talents to further that plan. So you're going through the rebirth, right? You're tasked to find the pathway that is the most beneficial for you. So in your rebirth, that's what you're doing. You're looking for the best way to do this thing. So here's Porcupine with innocence at the end of these cards. You know, pull it together, folks. You know, you've got all this positive energy. The manna of dolphin, quit fearing like rabbit, start being more playful and understanding, learn about trust and faith with porcupine. And now we're going to jump to the last card, which is owl. Interesting. So I think these are good cards. Whoa. Number 21 in the book, deception. So all these cards leading up here, good, 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 trust and faith, and then owl says deception. Meaning, in my humble opinion, that all of these things, owl is saying, all that's good, but beware of things that might mess with you. Owl is oftentimes the medicine of sorcerers and witches. Traditionally, owl sits in the east, the place of illumination. Owl medicine is symbolically associated with clairvoyance, astral projection, and magic, both black and white. Owl is called the night eagle on several medicine wheels used by American tribes. Since time immemorial, humanity has been afraid of the night, afraid of the dark, and afraid of the unseen, waiting fearfully for the first crack of morning. Conversely, night is owl's friend. But as I know before, I wore owl feathers in a hat one time to a powwow, and they turned me right around at the front gate and said, "You'll get rid of the hat or the feather or whatever, but you ain't coming in here with an owl feather." If you pulled owl card, you are being asked to use your powers of keen, silent observations to intuit. In other words, to look into or to feel some life situation. Owl is befriending you and aiding you in seeing the total truth. So Porcupine is telling you to have trust and faith, and owl is seeing and aiding you in seeing the total truth. So owl's the backup in all of these cards. It's owl's here, but it's not a bad thing. Owl's looking over your shoulder going, whoo, whoo, whoo. And you go, huh, what's up, owl? And owl said, careful, watch that over there. You can trust people, but beware of deceit from others. Those are the cards for this week. I think that's a good spread. I hope y'all feel comfortable with that. Quit being afraid. Ground yourself a turtle. And keep being playful like both otter and porcupine. And porcupine's like, I'm good until you start messing with me, and then I'll show you my quills. And owl's telling you, yeah, be careful of deceit. How about them, Robert?
Pretty darn good.
That's a
I like
good spread, ain't it?
Yep. So fill me in. Why don't they like an owl feather? What's the difference with the owl feather? Like it's just a feather. How did they even know it was an owl feather?
Because of the ways the stripes are in the feather.
Ah.
It's the way the white and the brown come in together. So, but it's because the owl was the harbinger of things. And so it's like, oh, so you're bringing us a message. Yeah, your brother died in a battle. Oh, crap. Or so. And the owl was always thought of as the harbinger of bad things because it flies in the night and it's part of the darkness. And, shamans who use owl feathers are usually kind of kinky and blah, blah. And so it's like, so they're like, no, we don't want that stuff because of what the night bird brings.
Mm-hmm.
It's at night, it's dark, it's mysterious and harbinger of bad things, when a lot of times, owl just warned you of stuff that was coming. It didn't necessarily mean that it was bad. Sometimes they needed to listen to owl. And sometimes, the rest of the tribe wouldn't listen to owl, but the shaman would. And that's where his medicine came in that he was pre-warned of something that was coming. Owl was like, whoo, look over your shoulder, dude. And all the Indians were like, come on, let's go on. And the shaman was like, wait, maybe you shouldn't go that way. Maybe you should go this way,
Yeah.
So that's where things came in. But anyway, so owl is not always bad, but many tribes, because of the harbinger of bad things, that's the reason.
Yep. Yep. Oh, I get it. Well, we're getting a lot of good show. Susie Q says, great show tonight, Robert and David. Thank you. Remember, go out and get yourself one of our mugs. They're in the merch store, and get yourself one of these shirts. We got our shirts. Support us here.
Oh, and I got mine on too. Here.
Nice. There you go.
I got my hoodie on.
Your hoodie, yeah. There you go.
That Robert was kind enough to get for me.
Mm-hmm.
Does it show up?
Yeah, it shows up good. Support your local your favorite show here with the greatest storyteller on YouTube. That's what it says. And so with that, you gotta go out and get yourself one. And the link is in the description below at the merch store. And if you get it soon, you might get in on that giveaway that Nina's putting on, and you get two birds with one stone. But wear your shirt proudly and support our show. And we don't make any money on it, but it's showing support for the show. And you're out there, maybe people will be saying, hey, what's that? And tune in. People tune in. I want to grow the show here. We do a really good job. I don't know why we're not famous and talking to a million people by now.
It's because of my ugly mug. That's what's dragging you down. I should start wearing a mask or something.
Oh man, no. I think we do good. Besides, this is the only place you can come and you get a twofer. History and a story with some cards in the end. Great explanation, great storyteller, and all in one. Great conversation, and we learn a little bit. One of these days, we're going to get a guest on, knows something about stuff. I keep working on that, but it's hard. So if you're a Native American, you want to come on the show, just give me a holler. My link in the emails in the description below. Check it out. And send me a note. And with that, you got a show tonight.
I don't know. It depends on my coffee. And it always depends on whether or not YouTube will allow me to do a show. A lot of times they just kick me off. I don't know why. I mean, I love all of my subscribers, but I got less than 1,000 subscribers. Why would YouTube want to kick me off? What the hell am I talking about?
Yeah.
Can I want to add something here at the end here.
Go right ahead.
Many folks have probably heard of what happened on 420 with David Wilcox. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on around him and so forth. But I want to say this. I spent years wanting to kill myself, and I faced suicide almost on a daily basis for a while. And I'm here to tell you that is not the answer. You want to go to heaven? Then don't do yourself in. Figure out a way. And the cards tonight, in a lot of ways, they're saying, hey, if you feel like you're a turtle on your back, figure it out. Flip over and gain that grounding from Mother Earth. You are never alone. You are not a victim. So get that out of your head. And with all the cards tonight, I'm thinking how great it is, So quit thinking you're a victim. That's for a long time that I thought that. And now I'm at 73 and a half. I'm like, no, I'm going to figure my way out of this. So David has passed on to the other side. He affected millions of people with some of the things that he said. And he was correct about many things that he said. Not necessarily about aliens, but it was about, about being, the one rule, that binds us all. Be nice to each other, That's right. The biggest thing. Be nice to each other. We're all in this together. So, why are we here? It's to have the adventure of life, And so I always say, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom of the universe. If you accept it and go, wow, there's stuff out here that, the Akashic record, the knowledge of all things are in the consciousness of the universe. And the dolphin tonight shows that manna is everywhere. It's in every breath. The essence of the Creator is in everything we breathe. Consider that. That's in the quantum. They're different words. But these cards tonight are showing you you're never alone with Mother Earth. Ground yourself. And the Creator, with the breath you breathe, is the essence of all things. Think on that. Just think on that and quit being depressed. You'll figure stuff out. And so then I love y'all too. So
Yep, that is so true. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, and thank you, everybody. And if you want to hear more about David Wilcox, we're gonna have a show on Sunday. Me and Nina on Beyond Truth. So get out there and Sunday night, check us out. We'll be talking about him all night, at around 8:00 Central Time. So with that, there you go. Susie Q says, we love you too. Remember, go out and do some nice things for other people. Maybe you'll change their day. If they're feeling suicidal and you smile at them, that could be all it takes to turn the tide for them. And with that, remember, everybody, go out and be the frequency you want to receive. I love you all. Peace, everybody.